Am I live? Am I live? I will believe it when I see it on my second screen that I have here. Let's see. Yeah? No, not yet. Just to confirm the levels and things like that. Just want to make sure my sound is good and stuff. Yeah, maybe I am live. Am I live? I am live. I was live. I was live all along. Okay, sure. I hope we don't have feedback. All right, let's swipe. Just exploring the options of Open Broadcast Studio. All right, welcome everybody. Actually, let's not swipe. Let's fade, whatever. Okay, back here. Welcome everybody. Tomorrow is paper one for the A-level computer science, and if you are doing an AQA A-level, you know that half of the marks of paper one, meaning half of 40%, meaning 20% of the total mark, meaning just as much as the project that you may have been spending quite a fair bit of time on, um, is on section C's and D, which have to do with a skeleton code base. And this year, it's published in September. I mean, I'm not going to explain the mechanics of the AQA A level because this is really for a very specific viewership. So we skeleton code and section C theory questions and section D are coding tasks. And without further ado, let's kind of delve into it. I've lined up a bunch of resources. Let me just, okay, let me show the thing. Right. We'll talk. It comes in as so on the day you'll walk in the room and you will be getting a printout that looks like this, which we've had since September, which does kind of does briefly sum up the game. It's a puzzle. It's very puzzling for sure. I don't know how much of a puzzle it is. It's a game. Is it one? Yeah, it's a one. Yeah, to be honest, it's a puzzle. It's like when you make enough points with placing symbols into a grid. The code, you also get a printout of the code, which something I have much derided as in mocked. But thinking about it, there might be some value in it for quick access to the code base during particular section C. But hey, and you will have the code base in your little folder and you'll know what to do. This is submitted. You'll also have next to this in the same folder, which I have, but I can't open. You have the electronic answer document. And that was the first point about this. I could open it, I suppose. Actually, I might have Word on this machine. Let's go to the Finder of Files. Oh yeah, but where's that then? Oh, it's on the desktop? Okay, right. I've got, and we're back on track. Right. From AQA, this one. You will be submitting, in fact, you'll be doing the whole paper on this, including exam questions. And if looking at, you'll be filling in a Word document and leaving it somewhere on a drive. I think there's also some printing actually at the end. Which is a bit awkward, but still, we're working towards it. And so you can do, this was published in September, it's called the preliminary material, right, to the examination. And so you can do some, can I just hide the, thank you. You can do some OSINT, some open source intelligence, which is essentially intelligence work based on publicly available information, which you'd be surprised how much information is publicly available. It's just the total sheer amounts of it that makes it difficult to find. So you can tell, in particular, it's going to be start with a 3-mark question. It's just a little kind of like, yes, often, not always. There's always a nice first question because it's this little kind of problem-solving Bear-Brush challenge type thing. Nice to some. Then a 7, a 3, an 8 with 6 parts. Interesting. And then do we see, yes, okay, so there's a table. There has been speculation amongst like the set of computer science teachers going, oh, by the looks of it, look at the size of the columns. Is it going to be a sort? Is it going to be a tree graph traversal? But that's a 13 mark. What in my 13 class we call a chunk for section A for sure. Then section B, that's also, so that's, I can't remember the breakdown, but like A and B are half and C and D are the other half. Section B, that's coding greenfield, right? You need to code about 20 minutes advised time, but not related to the code base. I have a section B problem which I found somewhere. I didn't remember because I thought I'd like looked at all of the AQA section B. Because those are, I mean, this is like, I'm sorry if this makes me feel this seem like some kind of sado, but this is stuff I do for fun, right? Little programming questions. Can we view this? Can we zoom in? Who maps who maps zoom to? It makes sense, I guess. Okay, sorry. No, but that's not mapped to. What are you doing? Oh, shift. All right. Also, command shift. Right. Oh, that kind of zoom. Right. And how about this? No, not this one. Okay, Boomer, we can, we can get there. You double click now on those things. Right, that's pretty good. So we'll like cross that bridge when we get to because I have promised some skeleton code. Section C, same total weight as section B, but the much shorter recommended time because those are theory questions. We will talk about this. And section D. Now this is very interesting. All right, it's 5, 6, 14, 14. Which you're like, okay, whatever. But if you've been paying attention, let me show you what it was last year. This was Daston last year, which was, I mean, you must, if you've practiced on some skeleton code, you would have seen some Daston. That was some kind of chess adjacent two-player game but you have a choice of moves that are for additional complexity drawn from, it's almost like you had card in front of you, drawn from the common queue. Still, this is last year section D. 4 questions. One is essentially it's just input validation. The first one, I think, I don't want to kind of generalize, but the first one is like a 5 mark that doesn't need too much knowledge of the code base, and as such, input validation is obviously a really good candidate. And that's kind of 5, 6 marks, depending on, I guess, how much validation there is to do. And then we have what's this? A new type of square. Again, don't want to generalize, but like all of the skeleton codes that, I mean, yeah, all of them, they definitely just be prepared. I'll word it like this, right? Be prepared for, in that instance, having to do some inheritance because those are OOP code bases, and OOPS was the kind of big new thing in programming, certainly the more practical one, not that kind of lambda calculus and functional programming in Haskell. Shouldn't be, but OOP. And OOP, you're unlikely to, you will have to kind of create classes and stuff like that, but this is kind of your first level 0 OOP, maybe 1. They might ask you about privacy, publicness, protectedness of attributes, things like that, but as a OOP concept that is easy to kind of roll out in a programming task is inheritance, hence an inheritance question. So this is a new type of square. They do tell you new class, subclass of the square class. This is 9 with the test, 9 marks, so ramping up. That gives you an idea of like what to expect as well. So 9 marks is this, so what's a 14, right? What's 2 14s? What's 2 14s? Yeah, sorry, I just didn't realize. I didn't realize the implications because it's like, yeah, numbers. Okay, bear in mind you're going to have 2 big chunks of programming tasks, and not to worry anyone, but question 3 last year was, so this is about swapping 2 locations in the thing. So essentially that's access to data structures. Again, this is like in topic 1 and 2 of the spec, fundamentals of programming, fundamentals of data structures. You're like accessing an array, and that might be vary according to your the language of your because this is meant to be supported in, this is supported, sorry, what am I saying, in Python, of course, C#, Java is, no, Java can be an option. Delphi and VBNet. No Java. Interesting. Delphi/Pascal. Is Delphi like Pascal? Just I didn't even know. I heard the name. Okay, fine. It's fine to show that they just don't know everything in spite of what we're trying to project in class. Right. This is a 10-mark question for you. So bit bigger than inheritance for reasons because you get more things to checks. But that's a 10 marker. So we've not seen what a 14 mark question looks like. And then finally, having to sort of tally up. And there's always the last question is kind of a more open one that in that you're maybe kind of less guided and it's less kind of just technical or mechanistical. This is much more kind of a broader problem for you to solve. So things like the number of moves left in that instance. There was stuff in it was an ace level actually food magnet about kind of path finding in a simulation. So these are kind of slightly more complex problems. But even that is a new method, text board, which turn on for move the place based on the content square board list. I think move legality. So this is interesting. So this is to see whether you notice. I mean, okay, I'm going to say, show me you know that's done, but like this is, they don't tell you, they don't spell out that you need to count the open squares, but you need to figure out whether some of them may have some blocked, there's maybe some over constraints on blocked symbols or like forbidden symbols. Because you've used them already, that may not appear. Although in terms of moves, that should just be the empty squares, because which symbol you choose, I don't know. Let's say it's probably just empty squares, but still, that's kind of passing, going through the data structure. And display state, yeah, and that is a 13 marks. So 14 markers. So we better be ready for this jelly. I am really curious about this. I wonder if I might do like a live actually sitting it, maybe just the section D. So what have we got here? There have been there's been a lot of speculation. Oh yeah, I had to prepare some skeleton code, symbol puzzle. Very good, very good. Okay, this is good. It's the stuff that comes up when you search for it. Section C predictions. Let's see what the industry says. 3 questions worth 11. I mean, if we want to 1, 3, 1, 2, 1, 6. As long as you do program well, this is much less. You're not going to make like thing, but and 214 marks screen captures. Ask any question if you can come up with something message. Okay, yeah, okay, that's more. It's not really, yeah. But then, like, people have been going, okay, so what kind of questions could we do? This symbol case, so that's input validation, right? Q and Q. This is kind of evident. It also to be, if you put this in your code as well, it makes just testing it so much simpler. Same deal with validation for the columns and rows. There's one about fixing a bug. So game file not existing. That's kind of also, that's correct. That's kind of validation of. It's not, it's the input, yeah, because it's like the game file not existing. The name you've put, the name of the file, that's an input. That's input validation, slightly more advanced. So that could be like the 2 there. I don't think it's going to be case. I think it's going to be validation. We'll look at the code in a second, but I just want to like speak generally before I delve into Python, so that the people who do other languages might still kind of just be interested in the first bit. Supporting extra things. That's I think that could be a small question as well. That might be the 6er if the 5 is the. If the 5 is the validation, and blowing up block cells, there's often like that. It's something that goes slightly like kind of outside the rule, like not just kind of I don't know how to explain this, but there's a difference. If in Dastan, for instance, you change, okay, if in symbol puzzle you add a new puzzle, you're still within the framework of the game, like but there's something, it's already been abstracted away in a way that you can add it, which is, I'm not going to show the Python just yet. But if whereas something like, okay, in the middle of the normal set of turns, you add another option to randomly, blow up a cell or whatever. That's kind of, it's more like DLC for the game, right? It's a sort of an additional, it's a mod. More of a mod than DLC. Actually, the first one might be more DLCs, filled more symbols, and then you get a mod to say you can blow up thing. So those would be, that kind of 10-mark level question, which we could have one. A new puzzle file to import it. That's definitely not in terms of predicted question, I don't think, but it's very, very good that you know how the file is structured. So they're all going to be the same because it doesn't depend on language, right? It's just literally, but like knowing the structure of this, I find, well, it definitely is good to get that out of the way, that you know what those numbers means, because if you're asked to touch anything around the loading of the files, perhaps a 14 would be saving the state of the puzzle. I think, save current game. What have they rated it as, save current game? 5 marks? You're joking. No, that, be good to just like make sure you know how to write to a file. Well, I might do this one actually. Okay, so let's pick some section D to do. I think save game. That's going to be my 14. And then 2 5s. I'm going to put input validation for 4 5. And what's the other one? Input validation game file. Maybe the game file not existing. No, symbol or game file? I'll shoot. Well, I'll shoot maybe symbol. Game file. Save game. Oh, perhaps like a rotated pattern. I think that might like they're in terms of what you can verify. The problem with, I mean, designing those kind of questions, I've got massive respect for the computer science teachers and you know, people on the boards that supply those questions, because just because it's 14, maybe it's complicated, complex problem to solve that is worth 14 marks, because it's going to be worth just as corresponding amount of the time on the exam, but it may not be as simple that there's like 14 things or 13 things, because there's a test that you can verify in the code. And which one was it? That's like, yeah, rotated letter is that's definitely 14. It's not. It's I think there's probably enough complexity to find the marks. I think that could be marked as 14. The point is that I want to show it because we're just looking at what we're going to do. Right. So let's start with some coding. I might mix in some section C just to kind of break it up a bit. And yeah, I think that's gonna keep us busy for, well, we'll see how long that lasts, because that was a long intro for 14 minutes. So never work in a vacuum. Uh, Pomodoro technique, which you know and love, I'm sure. I hope you work in stretches of 25 minutes. Although if I was working silently, I might try, but I'm just going to see whether, we can find out where we are. Um, Let me now, sorry, but before I actually do like, I use the Pomodoro to code, but I will just want to show the code base itself. If you use Visual Studio, that left sidebar is here. You'll notice immediately this big block. People were actually quite concerned it was so short. I thought it was a bad sign, and it's true that in a way it might be. And indeed, I'm more worried about like the fact there's a 14, but the two things in a way are probably very much interlinked, because it's more elegant code that is simpler, that is more pithy, and but also more complex, shorter. Remember that here you have the Explorer in the bar, which is, I don't have it. I have the Explorer. Oh, show the Explorer. Sorry, in the Explorer, it's not just the files of your workplace. You have the outline, and you can collapse and expand things like that. We have, well, there's already inheritance. So I'm quite curious. I don't think there's going to be one, this time. So yes, not always. They've got to AQA have to. I've learned this from speaker at some kind of conference that was on working for AQA, that they need to kind of cover the whole spec, but over not every year, but like generally over a rolling 5 years. They can't have like neglected a bit, which means that some bits have been neglected for a while. If you look at anything not been touched in 4 years, that it's not as simple. They're more clever than that, but it does mean that, yeah, if they do a lot of inheritance for a bit, then that's covered, and that frees them up for like more slightly perhaps trickier concept, hence the 14 pointers. But we've got a puzzle. It's really, this is a singleton, only one is created. Then patterns are something to verify the pattern. So that's not like this is the C and the G, the concept of what symbol to use and how to draw it on the board. So okay, should we just go through them? I can see why people want to do that. Like all of the stuff, I'm like, oh, they're going to show us of the OOP stuff, all of the structure of the code and so on. But unless you're interested in, I think I might show just this as I go along, because otherwise I might just struggle a bit. This constructor, then those are all of those private attributes. The item puzzle is the method where most things happened, and then we get some private, voice private and public methods. Display puzzle, unsurprisingly. The pattern will have the symbol to use and the pattern string, so that's the concept of the pattern. X, that's an interesting one. I've noted this as well. There might be something that, like, there's a try except block here that is, I don't think there is any justification for this. Find this very, very puzzling, because like what we're wrapping, okay, so in terms of computation, like the computer operation that might throw an exception, there is an equal. Now we're equaling between, those should be strings. Oh, I see why. Yeah, okay. Let's count them. I mean, those should all be characters, so that should match. But admittedly, because it's not equality, we're not guaranteed. This is like a variable, and it's a loosely typed language. It's duck type in Python, so you wrap in an exception in case one of those ends up not being the type we expect, because you're likely to have this problem. And then what you do is then it prints and it continues, so it doesn't break the code. That's, I can see, that's simpler than having to cover and make absolutely sure that. No, that tells you, OMG. Yeah, this means they definitely add a symbol. Oh wow, okay, yeah, so there's definitely an add symbol. I wish I could, I'm going to get this info to my own year 13. Well, I'll just link them to the video, but like definitely, okay, we're going to have a symbol. The reason I know. So let's start with that. Right, the symbols are here. It is in puzzle or main big class that just runs the show pretty much, that has the grid size, the grid as a data structure, the patterns and symbols allowed, and then you can load puzzles based on the argument when you run the file. So you can load a puzzle from the command line, which is quite interesting. Oh, sorry, that's like yeah. If you have command line arguments, just load the puzzle from the command line. Otherwise, this, not sure what they would do this unless they actually ask you to do that. Maybe not everything has to be. To be honest, you would find this in the legit file. This is more like, I'm just seeing the fact if I'm seeing this code purely as an exam thing, I'm like, why did you put that in? But like, this is actually good practice to not, so you don't have to go in and say puzzle one. You just launch it like symbol puzzle and then boom, the file. Otherwise, you'll initialize them slightly differently. You may have been passing some grid size, and then we initialize it to the grid size, which is mean the grid size is the size, it's the square. So the size of the square, and then we get your alert patterns and symbols, and the default ones are here. So alert patterns, alert symbols are I need to open this. I think I need to open this in. Oh no, I've got it here. Just where it's going to show some of my own files. Yeah, I think we're in the. Okay, how do I add to workspace? Oh no, that I've created a. I have actually created a. No, what? This is something really different. Here, I just want to right click and open this. Okay, file, open folder. Here we are, and it's from AQA in my desktop. I'm not very organized with the files, I confess. Yes, yes. So if we go, sorry, it's not from AQA actually. It's just the one above it. Because it's a workspace, I would have done that differently. I should have done this. Anyway, we get it here, doesn't matter. This is all we had. And then the thing, but what I want to be, just before I do that, trust folder, yes. Should have gotten that. So it'd be simpler to move the files. Yeah, I'm going to leave it in form AQA. I'm just going to move the files. And because we need some puzzle files, which are not here. Yes, those should really be alongside the code because they're going to be looked for. In that, there we go. So that's what the puzzle files looks like, but they all use Q, X, and T. But technically, you could have a puzzle file that supports other symbols, other patterns. But those are the three patterns. So the way to add a pattern, well, let's see. Actually, I'm going to time myself. Do I time myself? Or do I just kind of go with it? Right, let's just put a Pomodoro so I don't get too rambly. That was the first Pomodoro. It's 25 minutes in. We're going to take a 5-minute break. No, not yet. All right, let's start coding. First thing you do, you are going to make a copy of the original file. To start with, you make a copy just for reference, and you might rename it. Function keys, F2. It's not mapped in the same thing on Windows. It's return. Weird. Original. That's your backup. Actually, you could call it backup. And you can spell it better as well, I'm sure. And then we're gonna paste it again and rename that one to return. How do you like that? Oh yeah, cool. To add a pattern. There's still, well, I'm glad that like surely computer science students that sit the A level tomorrow have better things to do than me on YouTube. Add a pattern.py and collapse the left. It's kind of visible. Yeah, I'm not mad about this. Random. Are they using random? Is it the one that? Yeah, they are. The OS was. That's interesting. So there's the import of the OS. That's still something. So yeah, the exception, and then the import OS might mean because you don't need to import the operating system module to open files. Yeah, okay. Obviously, as a whole word, not just ONS anywhere, right? It's not using the OS thing. What this can do is display. That's the over 14, of course. So the exception tells us add a pattern. What was the first 14? Rotating, perhaps. Save game, perhaps. Definitely the OS tells me there might be something of the validation. That's not the over 14, that's maybe the 6. Import OS tells us we will want to, the thing we're likely to need is dir in OS, which, can I get a, all right, where's my console at? Oh, terminal, just, it's not the same shortcuts. Let's have it. No, just like, when I run this, it runs it from somewhere, surely. User bin f user bin Python 3. Oh, wow, okay, yeah. Just, my mic is not set up. This is very shameful because I know that like I was watching this movie quite advanced and so like understands that maybe they've said maybe they themselves use a Mac and maybe they have a. I should have been streaming from my Windows machine. Okay, this should. Hello, that's my Python console. Right. Can I just do this? No. Well, if I do this and then do that. Right, and I think it's, well, open might be something, but it's, no. How do I, this might be to read, there's the current path, and there's the current dir. Path const par dir. Anyway, we're adding a pattern, doesn't matter, I got sidetracked, sorry. So to add a pattern, oh my god, yeah, I'm not, am I taking my DADC med? Don't even, to add a pattern, we want to, of course, create a pattern, an instance of the pattern class. The constructor of the pattern class, which we can find, let's use the outline pattern init would be here. It's the symbol to use and the pattern string. The pattern string, we'll get to that in a moment. I'm sure you know and love it, but it's worked out in a spiral, slightly annoying, just to confuse you. And yeah, it wouldn't bring any. Does it bring any benefit? No, I don't think it does. Just for thinking like that might using a spiral might bring a benefit if you want to match patterns in different orientation, which would make sense as a game feature and could be a 14 pointer. But I don't. I'm kind of getting lost into the problem as having. Is it? You know, you should probably still be able to verify this if you had like straight up data structures. I am wasting time. Anyway, you need to pass it which symbol and which pattern. In the pattern string, and then let's get back to my main puzzle, and then I was in the init of it. Right, here you are. There's a local variable, so we can trace it. It's kind of nice because like I could have appended it straight in that fashion, and then separately you append q, which interestingly there's nowhere to enforce that this and this is the same, which means that you can add a pattern that's broken and you can't play. But I think that like this is poor practice, right? Everyone understands if it's a T, that should be the same thing. So that should really be, you know, the symbol returned by the pattern, which is, and I think even pattern get symbol. But that would be refactoring, right? That would be something where you know that you're making the code obviously easier to maintain and better and more resilient and more robust. But because it's not something you can test, you just test that it doesn't change anything, then You can't, it's never set as a section D task, but very important in programming. So just a pattern, you create it, you instantiate it, you append it to the allowed patterns, and then you append the corresponding symbol to allowed symbol. So if I want to say, I'm going to go for a G because I like West Coast hip hop, and I think Eminem's dropped a new single as well. The G pattern. Wow, 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 from the E to the G's. Okay, no. Snoop Doggy Dog. All right. Well, this is fun. Is the camera mirrored? Can I? Does this? Well, let's see. Okay. No, the camera's not mirrored, which is great. So here we go. I'm just gonna need to go back to OBS, the Open Broadcast Studio, and then go to that. Okay, we're here. The patterns are. This is tiny. I'm gonna make a bigger grid. Let's say 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. All right, 3 by managed to kind of the moment you speed up. Okay, very good. A G. I don't have the space to draw a G on the 3 by 3 pattern, do I? That's the problem. No, actually, that's literally every. How do I do that? let's say it's all of them then essentially. No, because that's not going to show the spiral. So I want to show an L. Is there already? Oh, sorry about that. Just back to the code. We need to choose a better letter. But the patterns are stored in this like with spiral method, which it's not that complicated. It's fine. Let's just cut back. High production values on the show. Right, this is something completely different. We have oh no wait, a T. I guess let's do an I or an L or a B. Yeah, let's do an I. Let's do an L. Right, so we'll do a little foot, a little serif. Shout out to Sam. Bad kerning is never justified. So an L would be L. That's not X. That's nothing. So that should be a star essentially. L. It's good, right? And then here we have whatever. So that's a wildcard. Whatever. We go through this. It doesn't matter if it's blurry, right? You get it. We go through this not 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3. Well, sorry, not 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. We go 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So it's 0 1 2 3. No. 3 4 5 6 7 8. Meaning the pattern is L star star 1 2 3 4 L L L star L star 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 L L L star. Good. Right. Let's hope. Well, yeah, it could be C. It could be I. It could be let's go whatever. Okay. So from the G to the L, I'm just that's it. That's because I've been having my hip hop period. I have gotten an AI model to make a rap about protocols and layers to help my year 10 class of computer science. And it's a long story. We create the pattern. We append it to the private allowed patterns list dot append L pattern. And then we also add the character L, the symbol L. A symbol, right? So you could do the period or the comma, right? It's a symbol. And so this is the private attribute, and we append some, in that instance, uppercase L. And this is enough that you can, I guess you test it. That's right. This is the beauty of it because it's abstracted away. There's nothing else you need to do to play a default game and then use your L newly created L pattern. Let's go for here, this corner. That's going to be row 3 column. No, let's make them. No, fine. Row 3 column 4. Uppercase L. 2 4 uppercase L. 1 4 uppercase L. And then 1 5. Watch the score. Current score 0. Uppercase L. Boom. Booyah. Right? So, I mean, I took my time to explain. I got sidetracked, but that's 12 minutes. Although I've not, because they could recommend 9. Well, okay. So they always say 90 minutes for section D, and there were 2 14s, 1 5, 1 6. So that's 11 and 28. That's 39. Okay, there's 90 minutes. That's interesting. I've got a Python shell here, haven't I? All right, so 90 minutes divided by 5 plus 6 plus 14 plus 14. 2.3 minutes per mark. So this again, and multiply this for a 5 marker. Whoa! Yeah, I've gone over. Fair enough. Fine. I will redeem myself with the second of our one, which is I can't read my input validation, of course. Yes. So the reason input validation. So that's another thing that's in the code. The OS and then input val. So there's going to be basic. Yeah, basic input validation. So basic indeed that wait a minute. Let's see. So a really good source of information is the examiner's notes in the mark schemes, which I don't know if your teacher may or may not include them, but I always try and make a point to do so because, yes, all right. Validation routine, almost a single classification, with many getting full marks. That's been my experience, although with much smaller sample size. Incorrectly combine the two conditions. Oh, that's a classic. Not to include in our message. Also to use selection instead of iteration, or only to check the upper boundary. Fair enough. You get also, if you want to use recursion, you can, and it's actually simpler. Exception handling would probably get you the marks as well. Oop. And that's the thing, from correction to, and they say that every time, a signature, single bits of code. The last one as well, a significant number of students did not attempt this question, even though a number of marks could be attained by writing simple bits of code. I really hope that if you're watching this, you know that the mark schemes are something like, oh, there's a variable, I mean, I'm not trying to be like snide, but like the point is because there's 5 things or 14 things, 13, whatever, you have what's so many. I wish I could like get them without the examples of code. Right, this is for free, which was the book bar. That's something that will kind of process it and find a random square and destroy it. So you need random. You need to make sure there's like collisions because 2 random numbers are different to do swaps, and then changes the data structure on the thing. But so you create a new method. That's one or two random, 2 number random with the correct range. Bang, that's 3 marks. So yeah, there's always some marks to be gotten by trying the question, but also know when to stop, right? So that means you can, approach them saying you need to start them all, you don't need to finish them all. I'll talk about this more because there are gotchas on this. So validation, the reason we think the collective, my class, and just like this certainly is because of those lines. Okay. The puzzle class has got something called attempt puzzle. That's a public method, which is here, which is the main game loop. Right, well, not finished. We display the puzzle, the score, and then look at this. We initialize something to something ostensibly invalid, and then whilst we're not valid, then we try to cast as an integer something that. So this is so that there's already input validation. So there's already input validation if you don't enter something that can be cast to an integer. However, we don't have range validation. So if you were to add them, That could be interesting. I don't know if they would ask you to. I guess that way that kind of solves the problem of having to kind of not get the marks on this, but that means they probably wouldn't leave enough mark for a 5 marker. That's the design pattern of input validation. I have a video about this. I might make some more. I didn't realize that for YouTube you had to like just redo the same thing over and over again because the value of something fresh and novel. So while not valid, you try doing this. Now, once you're fine, we're not quite there yet. Before you say valid is true, you say if the row, which was now is an int, right, is in between. So this is numbered at 1, so it's like to be 1. You can do it like this in Python. Please do it. And it's smaller than the greater boundary, which is this. That way you don't have to worry about. Then you just up, 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 up. That's boom. Input validated. That's why I don't think the question is going to be over here. However, remember this is like this, right? And row. Always validate for the positive rather than detecting all of the, because it's a much more narrow set rather than detecting all of the ways in which it can be wrong. I don't know. I mean, like, okay, let's do the capital then. Like I'm accepting is below, right? So we've done this. Let's do it here as well. So if 1 is in between, I'm going to actually call it like all the tasks. I've renamed the file, but doing more than adding a pattern here. Yeah, sorry, once you've done that, because like if you end up with a broken task, you'll be kind of forking, as it were. You'll be taking a copy, starting from the original again. If the column is, yeah, and the max is alt, wait a minute. That's why I'm like, how can this be enough marks, right? Because it feels like it's needed, obviously. Because the reason it's crucially needed is because then it takes your numbers and it does arithmetic to kind of turn it into an index into linear data structure, which means that like if you add out of bounds, you might still out of bounds in the kind of matrix, might still hit something, and in fact that's a problem in pattern matching as well. So the thing here is that I have presumed that we had 8 columns and rows from 1 to 8, but that's only on default puzzles, right? And the puzzle class, now let's get into the puzzle, because it runs the game. It's not just a puzzle game, it's the concept of the puzzle. There's grid size. So that should in fact be, actually that's simple. Let's just replace the 8 by self dot. And because they did say, because the examiner's notes did say that pupils would have lost mark. I think I've seen that in something I was reading. People would have lost mark by not having an error message. Yeah, that we just read that. That was in there. I'm not going to. And so what we can do is an else block saying if you want to be fancy, self underscore grid size. Of course, that's not going to work unless I make it an actual f string. Up and then add this block over here. Doesn't it? We could put valid equal false. You want to be precious about it, but that means it stays false, and then we're good. Let's try it. Let's try it before I do the case sensitivity or case insensitivity. So to try it, I need to be in that one. Ooh. No. Oh, because it's still running. So. Huh. Well, that's helpful. Okay, is that going to work now? If I right, so let's have a standard puzzle, and if I give a number that's lower than 1, okay, so it seems to validate but doesn't give the message. Let's just okay. So the row is the first one, so that's what I'm going to be testing the most, or testing at all. So not here. Is this still? How is this is still running? I don't have the launcher. That's fine. I can work with that. I can't work with that. Kill it from here. Run it again. Default puzzle. -1. No. 0. Still no. Not going into the thing. 3. Okay, just not panic. I'm just curious at this stage. I mean, it kind of works, right? This will also not accept until I give something correct. And this, however, is kind of... Oh, because that's not a symbol, isn't it? That's X is a symbol? Yeah, right. So, and then kill it. I think I might need to restart VS Code. What? Okay, let's see. Let's see what's going on here. So we're not going here because let's see if we go in here and then let's debug, right? -1, 3. Okay, so we do stop on the valid. We're fine. Stop it. Stop it here as well. Debug it. Debug is just F5. Debug. Click here to be fair. And puzzle run. Lowercase. .txt, I guess. Puzzle not loaded. Fair enough. So without the .txt, I keep forgetting. Let's debug again. Let's just do default. Okay, and then if I should go in, I can't go in here, but I should go in there, in the row. Yes, -1. Okay. Oh, because it prints it. Sorry, you're just like, no, it doesn't. Why is it not printing it? Run. I'm sorry. What? The line is here. It's about to run it. I didn't just skip over, right? I did kind of continue, and it continues, but doesn't print the line. Doesn't. It's not like printing the same. I mean, because it's, I'm doubting my Python environment. Maybe it's printing to a different, like terminal. File flush. Maybe flush. I think. Is this like a buffer problem? I mean, it's just such a niche thing. Not helping. Hopefully that shouldn't happen in your thing. But what? Oh, do we break? Does the behavior of loops means that like we're gonna break every? This can't be right. No, we don't because we're in the else anyway. Okay, a default puzzle. Default puzzle. Oh, sorry, that's the end. Sorry, this is like the end of the Pomodoro. Maybe take a little break. Let me just. Okay, when I do, if I kind of overrun, pause the timer and I'm start counting up, so I just keep track of like how much I just to wrap up, don't get stuck in something else. Although sometimes I do. Right, -1. Ha, yes. This is where we print the line. I'm not going to question this any further. I'm just going to go and take a little break. Perhaps even stop. I don't. What is? But no, I'm going to take a 5-minute break, and I will leave you perhaps with my. Okay, just put this. No, this. Right, and I'm going to leave you with. I should be sharing the audio. Am I sharing the audio in this one? Yes, desktop audio is that muted. Oh, that's because my desktop is muted. And I'm going to leave you with the no, leave you with the wrap about networking. So I'm going to take 5. Um, oh wow. Okay, sorry. There is something in the chat. Hello, AQA Cabbers and Egan, Egan, Aston. Hello, hello. Uh, back in 5. Yeah. Okay. Let me with my absolutely excellent and lovely. Where? How do I just? Let's get lost in this thing. I need to go back here. The, no, I think it might be. Yes. Which one have I thumbed up? That's good. Ready? Wow. Very unspectacular, isn't it? Because am I? Is this? That's not muted in here, right? And this is what we need. Yeah. Okay. Um. Here it is. No, that's sorry. That's the one about my cat. Uh. There it is. Just check I've got the. Why is it not coming through the desktop audio? Oh, I need to go via black hole and do a whole thing. Sorry, I can't give you the. Maybe if I just like switch this to the. Yeah. Well, back in 5. Nope, not this one. Yes, this is what I need. Maybe that will work as well. And in here. Right. Maybe I'll edit that out as the final thing. From the top. Layers and protocols and tech stack flow. Modular designs, that's how we grow. Abstractions in action, hardware, software combined. In the world of networks, that's how we shine. Yo, we talking networks, layers in the mix. Physicals to base where the hardware clicks. System, wires and cables, the real heavy lifting. Signals transmitting, data shifting, encrypting. Next up, link layer, where frames get to play. MAC addresses, keeping packets far away. Error detection, correction too. Ensuring data flows right through and through. Layers and protocols and tech stack flow. Modular designs, that's how we grow. Abstractions in action, hardware, software combined. In the world of networks, that's how we shine. Yo. Now we hit the network, IPs on the scene. Routing through paths, know what I mean? Packets fly high, finding your place. Logical addressing, keeping up the pace. Transport layer, TCP's the boss, guaranteed delivery. No data loss or UDP, quick, no overhead. For speed and gaming, keeping legacy dead. Layers and protocols and tech stack flow. Modular designs, that's how we grow. Abstractions in action, hardware, software combined. In the world of networks, that's how we shine. Top layers application. We use to speak the tech. HTTP, FTP to keep it in check. Email browsing, all in the code. Interface is seamless. Data's on the road. Physical to application. Each layer's a piece. Protocols guiding. No data release. Modularity's the key. In this tech stack game, abstractions make it easy. Remember the name. So when you talking networks, remember the tale. Layers of protocols, they never fail. Mr. B style, let's go so the beat in the What happened to music? All right, we are back. Maybe I could. What's this one? Boom. What does that do? Okay, that's too quick. Right, let's not get lost in this. We were here. The next thing I want to do, that was input validation. I'm setting another Pomodoro for 25 minutes. And we go. So, input validation on the the other input we can validate before we move on to the file, because clearly inputting the file name is a big thing, and this OS might be interesting. We've created a pattern, but the thing we don't have in attempt puzzle is column and then get symbol from user. This. There's always like the only feature in two places, the definition when they're called in here. So what we can start doing is this. That'd be good. But crucially, what we want to do is, it's already does well, not self and self alert symbol. That's just it. Okay. So that wasn't really a massive deal. I don't know. Could they throw something with that using like CHR and ORD to convert to an ASCII thing? Upper? What's wrong with that? Ooh. 2 upper. Whoa. 2 upper? Oh, sorry. No. You take the string. And what? maybe I'm streaming. Get symbol for user, and here we get the string and symbol, and can I do this? That's not gonna work, is it? That can't be that simple. We'll find out. Right. Well, I balked it. Very good. Yeah, that doesn't even pass, so that's interesting. Close that bracket. Okay, I'll just do symbol. Angle sim. Thank you. So all strings have a method upper, and then you call it, and it becomes the uppercase, which means you can test it by running it first. It's not running, is it? Okay, because I get like a bunch of shells here. Default puzzle 1 1, which is free, and if I just type lowercase x, it still works. It's not this one. Could this be the 5? Who knows? Next up, and now the other bit of input we get. Well, let's look at how much input there is to validate. It's like the row. Let's get to the top. The file, the row, the column. Wait, where's number 2? Do another puzzle. That's a dot lower. Yes, no. Fair enough. Again, right? No worries there. And then the row in the column and the symbol. So the file name. This is good. It gets the name of the file and then adds the txt and then expects to find it, which means that in here, it casts it here. That's interesting. That's interesting. Another thing that I noticed in skeleton code is that whenever they asked you to do something, the syntax for it already is somewhere in the code, because you can, like, if you're not sure, if you're like look around, it is there. So the fact that we have all of those try except blocks might mean that we need to raise an exception, though. We would need to raise an exception from the puzzle class. I might just do that, actually. That's fine. So this is already in a loop, right? So all I need to do here is I can do try. That's not gonna, yeah. Alright, we're going to try doing this, because this is when we call the puzzle constructor, which is here. No, it's here. Class puzzle init, right? Where, if there's an argument here, oh, so that's, yeah, sorry, that's the constructor. Sorry, I put this with arg0 of main in the command line constructor. I talked out of turn like an hour ago. So we try to create a symbol with this is the default puzzle, and here we do loadPuzzle with arg0. So loadPuzzle is here, and then this is the context manager that does all of this, which why not? rstrip is helpful when you read the line. Or you could use read lines and map. Still, this is where it would break. If it doesn't exist, this is where this context manager would break. And then this try as an except block, and in except it prints puzzle not loaded. What you could do is make it return something. So they don't expect you to, they don't need you to throw an exception. Actually, what you need to do is return something. Now we can't do that because, and then we just call it. Can we just return from the constructor? That could be a bit weird. I can't really do that because then I have to pass it to the constructor. I would have to raise. Let's raise, fine. So we, in Python, you raise an exception. We would have to, ideally, it would be our its own subclass of the exception class. So it needs to be an except here. And then let's just leave a pass in here, right? So that way it doesn't, the parser kind of validates it. So like, in loadPuzzle, so we can't do that. What we need to do is raise. Raise exception, let's just raise exception. The base class or instantiate it? I don't, unless they kind of give you, but I don't know, because it's so specific to the language. Like, I can't believe they're going to tell you, oh, you raise exceptions in this fashion in Python, but still, it's okay. Let's see if that works. Except here, so this would throw an exception if we're an invalid file name, and then boom, we can just go. Where we don't do anything, what we would do is continue. Because we already printed the error message in loadPuzzle. So we continue, meaning that because again hasn't changed, we just kind of loop and get back here. Not kind of loop, we actually loop, then get back here. Okay. Right, so a file to load. Let's see if it just like works. Puzzle 1. That will work. It does the txt and then it does the thing. Very good. Now, let's do it again. But this time say, like I did last time, Puzzle 1. Puzzle not loaded, gets back here. I can't believe it worked the first time. This is kind of awkward because in spite of being a bit tired, and as you can hear from the rambling, I never got kind of like enough errors to explain how to handle the errors, but it never works first time. Like, don't worry if it doesn't work first time, it's just like, assess the error, it's going to tell you the thing and continue. What you want to watch out for is when it works, there's no like error message, but it doesn't do that. If you get this type of logic error in your code, I advise you to set a time limit to how much you're willing to investigate it, because that's a sure way to lose time and therefore marks, because you could be doing some of the kind of basic marks, the kind of first marks of the mark scheme in the other section, the questions. So this worked. What else have I got? Exceptions. Enter validation, adding a pattern, saving the game. What about the OS thing? Let's do saving the game. Let's do saving the game. I think I've got some. So I've used some of the. Oops, not. Yeah, we don't need my AI experiments. In this, those are the tasks from Zigzag, which is from Craig and Dave, who clearly have this on locked down. Yeah, save a puzzle in its current state. Give an option to save the state to an external file. And then on confirmation, use the file name with the file extension. No, okay, let's do something that's, sorry, yes, DOS now. They might give you Python dir. What's dir? Oh, list dir, that's the one. Let's have a look. Right, so in my Python console, which I have, oh, this is running again. On this one. This is my Python console. So in here, I could do. I have imported OS, have I? Yeah, that's the one. So if I do os.list lst list dir. Oh, fair enough. Here we go. So for I in os.list dir and tab animal print I just to see, and that's it, right? So list dir is a method of in the OS package as a function. OS package. This is a package, not an object. So which is it's a function list dir, not a method, but that's a detail. This will list all of the list the files in the folder. The current folder from which we are expecting to find a puzzle file, so like the one we're actually using now, right? So, in here, in raise exception, catch it, but here, beyond continuing, we'll say file not found, except we need to print this, obviously. Now, of course, we can even go error. File not found. Well, yeah, except we need to put the put this inside the string. That helps. Okay. Chat. I need just to pay more attention to the chat, but like, because I miss people, I can't be kind of instant. I need to have this. I could, to be fair, now that it works, I might need to plug it in. Actually, I will need to plug it. No, okay, let's not mess. I will need to plug it in though. Let's just reduce the brightness. The best option for now. Okay. Error file not found. And then we print the available file by getting the list, so saying files is equal to os.list dir bracket, and then for f in files, and this I'm going to be sneaky, because this will list everything in the thing, and I know there's the puzzles are text files, which is why you don't append the extension when you load it, and in the tasks example where you were to save it, you also don't append the extension, which means that we're really only interested not in all of the files, but only the ones that end in .txt. So we're going to extract, if so, extension ext is equal to f, but the last 4 elements, which should be something, again, when in doubt, let's go to my console. So in Python, I have a list. It looks like this. Oh yeah, so if I do L colon -1, it gives me the last, no, not like this. What have I done? So up to minus, this is up to -1, so if it's like -1, the last 4 elements of a list is bound to be, yeah, I think it's like -1. If I do -2, yeah. So we want like -4 column, and this, well, okay, so this is the bad example. Okay. If my list is, say, 10 elements, no, so this is a string, actually. Let's make a string simple. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Let's do it again with S, because it is going to be a string. So I want from the, not the last element, which is -1, not the one before that, not the one even before that. So that would be -1 would be T, -2 would be X, -3 would be T, -4 would be the dot, and this will give me the last 4, D, E, F, G, right? -4, and then from -4 to the end of the list, colon, nothing. Whereas if I do, okay, fine. If you want to be precious about it, you say length is equal to len of s, right? You get the variable, and then what you do is like you can take s and you extract from here from length -4 to the end. I say 4, maybe it's 3. Maybe is it? Because we might have an off by 1 error. You have LNGHT, GTH, LNGTH. Right. So it's also, if you get the length, is the length -4. So that's why this is kind of implicit here, right? In Python, which is -4, it's like from the end. So there's almost a kind of. Oh, however, it won't kind of like modulo the other way. So if you kind of go beyond the end, it's not going to loop around. But it looks like it kind of loops around. -1 is backwards at the bottom. Anyway, so that's -4 colon to get the right bit of the file. So the file name, the last 4 characters of the file name are, well, okay, let's just do if this is not equal to .txt, or okay, fine. If you don't know about the exclamation mark, you can also say not this.txt. Then no, only print. Sorry, we just want the one that are equal to txt. Ooh. What? If the terminal is a text, then we are, oh, sorry, to .txt, obviously, then we will print it. Print the file name. Printf. Not a great final name. So let's actually take this and for file name in file, and files should actually be called file names, right? Sometimes it's fine to have like a one-letter variable and meaningless variable, but then when you see what the good name should be, because it's not, at the time you start the code, you're not necessarily in word mode. You might be in like, you might be more on the other side, whatever. But like go back and say, actually, there should obviously be this, and Control D or Apple D or Command D, whatever your operating system, tend to be mapped as standard to like if you have got this highlighted. And then just select all of them, and you can edit all of the same places at the same time. This is just a magic. Yeah, I discovered this. I was absolutely amazed. Little trick from the industry. So I think with this should work. I just need to make sure that here I'm in the shell, the actual Mac shell. Puxel 1. Oh, I actually typed correctly. When I mean to type Z, I type X, and this time I meant to type X, and I type Z. So, like that, whatever, right? It's the typo. Puzzle not only found, not found. Okay, my puzzle reference before assignment. Ah, yes, something is missing indeed. We do need to continue as well, right? So we've done all of the stuff, and is the message, and we've printed this to file, and then we continue. So we skip the rest of the loop and go back to the beginning of the loop, the while loop, meaning that this is going to give us the loop until you get it right, you sneaky user. What I could even do, because I don't want the user to type txt, I'm not even going to say puzzle files, because like you can hide, because we can't change the directory, right? So you can't hide you can't hide the fact. We can hide the fact that there's actually text files under the hood. So just like we're not including text anywhere, I don't think we should display it. However, we used to filter it. So in fact, we still call them file names. So I would say available puzzles, and we're going to print file name. And this time, we're only going to go up to the penultimate one. So I think this is going to be, and this might be, well, this is why I need a console. In my console, yeah. So if I do S up to -4, that A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Yeah, so just the first part, whatever that is. So in that instance, it's free, but it might, of course, for puzzle files, it's more. Is it mapped to? Yeah, Apple J. Yeah, some of the controls. I do a lot more VS Code on Windows because that's the school system, and I discovered that the standard thing is everything in control becomes command when Mac shortcuts, but it looks like VS Code had kept some stuff on control, which kind of in some level does make sense, but on others always surprise me. So we want to display just -4 actually, right? It is what I did. Yeah, that kind of, this one is like the same boundary, up to or from. So it's going to be exclusive, right? Exclusive of the upper bound. If the upper bound is the one before last, the fourth, then it's going to go up to, but not including the dot. And now it's going to look all nice and not of those kind of big, technically thing. I just type puzzle, but there's no puzzle. There's only puzzle 1, puzzle 2, puzzle 3, and puzzle 4. I could sort this, which I doubt. Would they ask you to sort it? I don't think I've ever seen a sort actually ask as a. They've had practice questions, but as an actual A level. That's how you do. That's your other input validation. That of files saving the game. I mean, maybe that's the over 14. Yeah. So my punt is the 5. 6, 14, 14. 5 is add pattern. 4, I mean, they know they do 3 things and then they got the spiral pattern right. That's 4, and then 5 to the test. I believe that. 6 is going to be what's the other stuff we've done? Can't be put the stuff in lower case. I'm in weekend mode. But if we look at, so if we open for compare, no, not timeline, there's no timeline, there's no version control. This is just, we're not in this kind of industry. Select for compare, and then compare with selected. Do all the stuff I've done in my, I should have, you name one file per task. This is the input validation for the things, so that would be one of the 14s. Actually, there's more to it than that, because there's... Because that includes handling the exceptions and throwing the exception, raising the exception in particular. The symbol in upper, don't know. Rotating the patterns? Yes, that could be over 14. Or save game. Okay, rotating the patterns, because we need to look at how the patterns are done. We're at the end of the first Pomodoro. I'm going to let like 2 minutes to get it run down. The reason we have this, I mean, when you just look at this thing, right? It just jumps at you from here. This horror. So sorry. Okay, this is in check for match with pattern, at which we pass a row and column of the puzzle. And so the self here is the puzzle, right? And then you go look for where that's called. This is called in here, in a tempt puzzle, when we pass the row and column, and then we change the symbol in cell, which means that you play the symbol and then you check whether there's been a match. You've just updated this cell. So you need to check all 9 blocks of 9 in which the cell is involved. Let me I can document the code. That's probably a good one. Right, so This initialization repeats the pattern matching n times for all 3x3 grid guards, n times for each of the 3x3 grid in which the cell at row, comma column is involved. And then in here, this ugly block, I mean, it's like, I'm gonna ugly 100. If you know hexadecimal, this is ugly. Okay, no, I can do this. So it's like, no, it's like 160, 176. Yeah, it's yeah. I actually remember it now. It's always 176. It's ugly 176, which is hexadecimal for AF. You got it. Because what it needs to do, block builds the pattern string to check, to be checked. To check, to check with pattern, with like the pattern on the pattern class, you can check the pattern string. Sorry, second Pomodoro for the 14. By building the spiral. Yeah, by building the by spiraling. Yeah, just so start and then to the left, and then you go back to above. You're still to the left. Ah, what? Oh, because it's row. Remember, also the rows are numbered from the bottom. Yeah. Like indexing starts at 1. Not relevant here because it's all relative. But also, rows are numbered. No, in caps. I'm not the person. If you see a comment in caps, that's usually a bad sign in code base. Are numbered from the bottom. So it's like, let's do it here. Start. 1 left. 2 left, 2 left, okay, 2L, 1 down, oops, 2L, 2 down, and then we're at 1L, 2 down, 1L. I'm doing it from memory. I'm not even reading at this. I'm actually kind of like basically looking at my little diagram, or I'm just kind of. So it's 1 left. Where are we? It's 1 left, 2 down. No, that was 1 left. No, it's like same. Yeah, 0. Just 2 down. Just 2 down. Effectively 2 down. That is the only motion. Is the only shift from the original location based on row column, and then it's 1 down, and then it's 1. By the way, whenever I said left, it was right all the way, right? You got that. I'm really sorry. I'm kind of indexed. I always have this problem. Don't know what it says about me. 1 down, 2 down, 1 down, and then 1 right, 1 down. Oh, I could have just said +1 or 0, whatever. But then drop, and then we like from your point of view, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. In fact, the spiral pattern looks like a G, except that if you were to draw a G like that, it would be just a full block, full. So this horror happens once. So what I say about this horror is that there is a code war problem, which I might actually do next as just a standalone video, That's literally you have, for any grid of any size, what is the spiral, which then if you bundle that in there, would allow you to have puzzles of arbitrary sizes. Except that's beyond the scope of the A level. So we do this once, and then we have a pattern string. We check if it's in the patterns, and if so, we're going to try to do the matching with this. So we get the current symbol, and then, sorry, for each of the allowed patterns, this is irking me, because at this stage we have the pattern string, and if it's not necessarily, so the pattern string might be the, surely one of those will be right, like one of those will be the pattern string. What it should do is like generate them all first, generate all of the pattern string, and filter them to see what's allowed. Like this is the way you only do this thing once at most. Anyway, we're not allowed to like just rewrite it. It just wants some coding task. For each of the allowed patterns, we get the symbol we've just put, right? No. Sorry, we get this symbol at the starting one, because the point is that we only check the symbol once, right? Like we're checking, we're going to verify the starting, the symbol in the top left corner of whatever grid we're kind of shifting through. And then we get a pattern string that does, and then if we have a match, we need to then insert this, this symbol to the list of not allowed symbols. So how would we pivot this so that it can rotate? I actually have done this in class, and I'm thinking about it. That might be beyond. It might actually be one of those that's kind of that's beyond the section D. Even for, to be honest, I would say the same about the exceptions. So who knows? So we'll need to do this 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and so I mean, I'm tempted to just abstract away and make some kind of yeah, I know what needs to happen here. So like here, at this line, so there's a try in there, because there's a try in there. Yeah, they must have had, they just, I don't know what it is with the exception here. I guess that, this might throw an exception that kind of silently blows up, or, Anyway, at this line, we have a starting cell. For each starting cell, instead of checking one pattern, we will check 4. So 4. So either I mean, I don't know, man. I can do this elegantly. No, so we can't loop it, because that's going to be wrong. So we could right. Let me just put this over here. Okay, so like in here, if I duplicate all of that code 4 times, and instead here with kind of different offsets, I can do this, right? So I would have to kind of copy and paste it 4 times. That's one way. I would advise against this. The elegant way to solve this problem is to have Okay, right. Watch this, right. If I wanted to build a list of pairs for this spiral, because what we're going to do is, if we do another spiral, we're going to start at, +1, and then we're going to build it from that corner in that way, and then that corner in that way, etc. So what we want is like to be able to abstract away the set of offsets. So instead of having all of this like this, which is like really ugly, I'm going to make a list of offsets. So the first one is 0, 0, because that's the thing, that's the start, right? And then it's 1 right, no down, and then it's sorry plus, yeah, and then it's 2 right. Right. I'm just going to notate them positive, note them positive. Do you know, I'm going to make a tuple because that's actually more appropriate. It's actually a list of, so the offset is a list of tuple and it's 0, 0, because there's nothing, right? Starting cell. Then, not Microsoft Motor Update, what are you doing? 0, 0. To the left on the same level, to the right on the same level, to the twice to the right on the same level, and then 2 right, just let's be consistent in the formatting, 2 right, 1 down, 2 right, 2 down, so space in the list but not in the tuple, and don't need this one, 2 right, 2 down, 1 right, 2 down, 0, 2 down, 0, 1 down, and 0, 1 down, and then 1 right, the middle of the grid, 1 right, 1 down. So except it's up, so I'm going to make sure that it's -1 here, so I'm just going to minus, right? So if I were to do, let's just test it with one pattern, right? Let's refactor it. Yeah. No, that doesn't really matter the order. I just want this line to be okay. Rewrite the horror block. I'm just calling this the horror block. So we have a list of offsets. It's all nice, right? And then we're going to do 4. Sorry, let's call this offset. Offsets. Offset. For O. You'll see why I want a short one here. In offsets. Sorry, plural. Yeah, lists. That's kind of a plural. So for each of the tuple in my offsets. No, actually, I'm going to make even like, you know, horizontal, vertical, right? For each tuple, or which you can do this, right, in Python. For each tuple, horizontal, vertical, HV in offsets, this is the one that should be here and not have those completely unreasonable amount of blank lines in between. Initialize the pattern string, and then for each of those in offsets, once we are going to add to the pattern string, I'm going to type it out just to show I can. Pattern string, I'm going to use autocomplete because I'm not, you know. We add self dot get o dot get cell, sorry, private get cell, start row minus vertical. Oh yeah, of course the indexing is row column. Yeah, never mind. We convert. Start row minus vertical, right? And start column plus horizontal. And now this has replaced. I'm not going to delete them because you know I might just need to, just in case, right? But we have built the pattern string in like 3 lines, or indeed 2 lines. Well, okay, there's this one. We'll get to that in a second. Let's see if it works. So this should not change anything. I've just rewritten the way we do pattern matching, which we're going to be happen to do every time we place a tile, which, wow, I was lucky. This is a blank grid. That's a nice one. Let's do an X. 1, 1, X lowercase, 1, 2. I mean, just to confirm that it gets into that block, right? Okay, let's kill it. I am going to put a breakpoint in here just to show we are building this correctly and debug it. Default puzzle, not as nice, not as clean and grid as the previous one, but interesting. to 2 x row number first, row 3 1 x 3 3 x 1 3 x. Didn't score it. Interesting. Maybe I have to have broken the thing in a big way. What if I had a breakpoint here? Ooh. Tuple object is not callable, perhaps you missed a comma. This is a, it never works first time. Let's not panic. What's wrong? I mean, have I been a bit optimistic with like the 4 straight with the tuple? I don't know. Let's continue debugging. We'll never know. Default. Can I do an x in the corner? I'm going to do an x from 2, 2, 1, x. Huh. Just want to confirm when's check for match with pattern is called. Oh, if it's a symbol allowed when I play it, so that should have called it like. I'm gonna blame my I can't blame my environment this time. Keep going. So row 2, column 3, another x. Row 3, column 2 for an x, and it's not going into the. So you can add breakpoints on the fly, I think. I think that I've got a problem with it's not printing the errors in the right place. 160, yeah. Yeah, you bet. Huh. Tuple object is not callable. Oh, yeah, I missed the comma. Yes, that's what they did tell me, right? That's the thing. I don't know why I'm not getting the error in the main console. I think I've got too many layers of complexity going on here. Still, we're back here, which means I can debug it. Here. Okay. Yeah, there's enough place to do the X in the corner. Cool. Got it in. Remove the breakpoint. Continue. It's getting into this. Remove the breakpoint. Continue. Oh, that should be fine now. Okay, so remove the breakpoint. Continue. I have faith, and boom, it's done the X. So it's gone into this, and has done this. Actually, if I were to put the breakpoint again, let me put the breakpoint again to show you. 2, X. Right, it goes to the breakpoint once, twice, thrice, 4, 5, quantize, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then it's done, right? So that's abstraction. That's how it should have been written in the first place. Like if this crossed my code review queue, then yes, I would have made the point to abstract away. DRY is a principle of Python. Do not repeat yourself. Except that in here, I also want to do it here. So I'm going to want to replace again. Take those. And so again, that's for Adrian offsets. And then here, just going to take the line, set the line Bart. Don't make me tap the sign. Just here, and then it is minus the vertical offset and plus the horizontal one. Save it, run it, and it still works. I'm trying to get. Is there a quicker way? Oh, I have appended L, so I can get. Or T is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Q is too big, I guess. I don't know. I don't even know what Q. is 5 as well, so actually L is easier. So that should score you fewer points which you can't support. Although, oh, maybe there's one. That would be an interesting one. Yeah, because my L. Oh, I like this. I should have made it so sure I could break it down. Well, maybe because that's going to become an archive thing. I'll redo them. Anyway, let's just test this real quick. But I'm quite confident about what I got. So I'm going to start doing L's because they're one fewer to put in. Row 2, column 1, L. Row 3, column 1, L. And row 2, column... No. Row 2, column 1, L. Sorry, row 1, column 2, L. And I didn't score it, to be fair. If I do an X... Can I? I can't override, can I? I can, okay. Row 1, 3x. Let's get back to my L in a sec, though. 2, 2x. Maybe it didn't score it either, so let's just confirm that it's probably that. Because we scored the L correctly. 1, 3x. We scored the L correctly. No. Sorry, row 3, column 1x. Row 3, column 3x. So the scoring doesn't work. So this, the thing I've written, I'm so proud of is balked. Let's see, we minus the V and we add, no, because it's all about adding to know that symbol. It's only if we score it, though. Was I not able to score one earlier on? Okay, just put a breakpoint here, and then let's say, right, I've just put something in 3, 1, and then my symbol's an X. And that has it. Oh, I'm not in debug mode, that's why. Okay, I need to run it with the debugger. Yeah. Debug Python file. 5 more minutes because I'm like I've done the 100, so like the timer is like rolled over because only 99, so I know that's kind of probably too much. Why we run? Let's try it. Nope. Here. Boom. No. No. Here. Okay. Plenty of space. I'm going to start doing X's. Hello? Now it gets in here, but doesn't do the next one? Ah, yes, it does. I've just added. Okay, we've got it. And so pattern string at this stage is so not this one. Remove it and run, and weirdly it falls off the thing. Maybe because of an exception or is that the problem? That can be alright. That might be why you get the thing with the pass, because if it throws exception because we're out of bounds something. Which it will, because it will look kind of out of bound in the thing, so that's why it's in the thing. But still, I'm still within the try block, so I should be having the same way. So I've not gone into... It's very bizarre. Let's just put something in here, like a print... Well, print... kind of debugging old school pattern string, except that's going to be... make that visible. Pattern string. Okay, let's print it to see what we build and what. I don't understand what we kind of and put a breakpoint on it to confirm that, because I couldn't. It stops in here and doesn't stop after the loop. Don't know what's going on. Right. Yeah. Here. Corner again is 3 1 1 L. Didn't stop. Didn't stop. What's with get cell? I think get cell is an issue. Well, maybe because the try is inside the shifting, not outside. So even if that broke, okay, I'm going to put one here. So row 1, come 2, have an L inside it. Yeah, we stop in here. That's good. And then continue. Continue, because all of those break. That's why I'm not kind of hitting this. Keep going. Yeah, I guess because there's nothing. Most of them are kind of outside the bound. I think, as they should be. Fine, I'm going to start it at like 1, 4 maybe. Oh, there's plenty of space at the top. That's a interesting saying. Collapse this, make that even bigger. Okay, let's try row 8. Come on. Oh, row 8, and am I stopped? The symbol is L. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then we and then we're back here and I've written the L at the top. But it's not gone in here because most of those are invalid, I guess, but it still should check one correctly. That's the thing I don't get. I think the timer's going to go off. Okay, let's not end on a... this is a puzzler. Because once we have the offsets, then I can have several sets of offsets and then check the other patterns, in mirror. But like maybe copying and pasting it 3 times. Sorry, those 2 blocks, those 2 horror blocks, 3 times. Oh, there's the return. I've not commented the return. That's helpful. That should be, yeah, that should be outside the loop. And that's only when we score anyway. So it's only when we get a match, which should probably kind of break here. Well, I mean, if it's not getting even here, it doesn't really matter. Let's keep, I think, if I remove this one and just like keep playing until I have something that is meaningful. So, 1, 7, put an L in there. Does it work? Oh, 1, 7, X? 1. What have I done? Okay, 1, 6, L. 7 towards the middle. So if I pick something in the middle, it should have everything free. We never out of bounds. Yeah, it's working. Yeah, I've damaged the code. Not sure how, not sure I have the gumption to investigate it, but to recap, I'm calling adding a pattern for a 5, making sure that you check the file as well if you get the OS package loaded. Now this is going to be a tricky one, and potentially rotation or saving. This is where being familiar with the format of the file is helpful. 3, that's number of symbols, then the symbols, the number of patterns and the pattern strings, and then the board size, and then this is the cells, each in order, the content of the cell, and then the not allowed as a list. Sorry, as a string, there's only one and then you can't tell. Then this is like number of moves. Sorry, there's the score and there's moves left, I think, which is like you get 1 move. Those are end games. Yeah, puzzle 1 is a lot of meat on. Puzzle 2, 3 moves left. Here, you got 10 moves left. Yeah, saving was a good one, but again, that feels too big for 14, so I really don't know. Essentially, the conclusion, I'm very curious as to what is going to be was going to be said tomorrow at 1:30 in the AQA Computer Science Paper 1. But we'll find out, and maybe I'll just like try and do it on a screen. It could be fun because we like to see me struggle, so I do. In the meantime, if you're sitting the A-level tomorrow, I hope you're not